Hey guys, it's Jason Dunn here from Digital Home Thoughts, and this is my follow-up review video of the Panasonic LUMIX GF1. So this is a micro 4/3 camera. The name for the form factor is a DILC, a digital interchangeable lens camera, is I believe what the acronym actually stands for. So it has a really awkward name, but it is a fun camera. I'm just going to say right off the bat, this is probably the most fun I've ever had with photography, I would say since getting like my first, big digital SLR. This camera is just so incredibly fun, fast, and easy to use. I love this little 20 millimeter lens here. On this camera body, it's 40 millimeters, so it's not particularly wide angle, but it's not too bad. Of course, there's no zoom because this is a fixed lens here on this particular camera. Now, I don't have any other micro 4/3 lenses, and the reason why is actually pretty simple. For me in particular, as soon as I put a bigger lens on this camera, like let's just say, for example, let's just pretend that this Nikon lens fit in this camera, okay? As soon as I put a bigger lens in this camera will no longer fit in my jacket pocket, okay? Or my like a coat pocket. And as soon as that is no longer the case, and I have to put it in a carrying case, if I'm gonna bring a camera in a carrying case, I'm gonna bring my D300, right? I'm gonna bring my huge tank camera because I'm going to get better pictures, I'm going to get better optics, everything about it is going to be better. However, what I really like about the GF1 with this particular lens on it is the fact that I can slip it into my coat pocket. I can take it places where previously I would only just take a small point and shoot, So this is the ZS3, which I've reviewed previously. I would typically, just be able to fit this in my coat pocket, and this is a good camera. I have no real complaints about this camera, but it is still a point and shoot. The images I get from it are point and shoot images, meaning very poor low light performance, lots of noise. It's just not great for pure image quality. It has lots of other great advantages like the 12x optical zoom, blah blah blah. You can watch my video, but previously I would only be able to bring this. So this camera, in its sort of particular size and form factor today, this really fills a gap in the way I sort of take pictures, in that my dream, of course, is to always have a really good quality camera with me virtually everywhere I go. And because of the size of this camera, I'm able to do that. So enough about that. Let's talk about the actual picture quality. What does this camera, what's it like for taking pictures? In a word, it is superb. It is really, really good. I was surprised and actually almost shocked at the quality of the images that came out of this camera. I think maybe because of the size, and I knew that the image sensor in this camera was a little bit smaller than in my digital SLR, and so I kept my expectations pretty low, and I'm really, really happy with the images that this camera is able to take. The images are not quite as good as my digital SLR. It's not quite as good in low light. Images on this camera, once you start to get up to ISO 800 and higher, like an ISO 1200 or 1600 image on this camera is really noisy. Like it's pretty noisy. I won't say unusable, but it is really quite grainy. And on my Nikon D300, I can get up, to ISO 1600, and the images still look actually really, really good. So I would say that this camera is not fantastic for low light, but on the other hand, with this 1.7 lens, this is a really, really fast lens. So you're able to do things with the lens that you might not be able to do even with the digital SLR camera if you had a slower lens. So I definitely really, really love this lens. Now, other things that it is actually good at. I mean, one of the great things, actually, here. I'm just going to go off camera here for a second. I'm going to just snap a picture. Actually, let's just do this here. This is weird. I never have nothing on the screen for this long before. There we go. That's better. Okay. Kind of awkward. All right, now I just took a picture here. One of the really fantastic things about this camera is, number one, the performance. So as you can see here, as I'm popping around, it's really, really high performance. I mean, you can pan quick, you can do everything really, really fast. I absolutely adore the speed of the autofocus. I talked about this in my review video, but the autofocus on this thing is really fast. Like, it snaps into place. I really, really like that. I feel like with other cameras, like with point and shoot cameras, the performance just is not there. You feel like it is, you feel like things are just going a little bit slow. Whereas with this camera, I mean, I'm shooting like in RAW mode here. I can shoot 7 images in RAW mode, in rapid fire mode. I believe it's 3 frames per second. I can pound out 7 images before the buffer gets full, and then of course it's a matter of how fast of a card you have. I have a class 10 card in here, and it works quite well. So I'm able to take snapshots really, really quickly. I'm able to fire in burst mode. I absolutely love that. And now that is when things are in RAW mode. If you switch to like JPEGs, no word of a lie, you can just sit here and like hold down the trigger over and over and over and over and over again, and if you have a fast enough card, you will literally never, you can hold down the shutter and it will continue to take pictures. I mean, it's totally fantastic. So really great, you know, burst performance for a point shoot. I mean, you get 3 frames per second. You're not going to be able to capture maybe, you know, Sports Illustrated cover photos with 3 frames per second, but if you time it right, you'll be able to still get really good pictures. Really great autofocus performance. One of the other things I really do like is, of course, the video mode. If I press the video button here, in video mode, and it's kind of hard to tell in the YouTube video, but in video mode it will actually autofocus. I mean, if I move things around, you know, in the frame, and I kind of keep tracking, it will keep tracking. And if I hold down the shutter release button here, it will actually force a refocus of the focus point. So it will actually keep things in focus. Now again, one of the things worth noting, I'm just going to turn off the video here, is that because there is no optical viewfinder here, you can get an add-on viewfinder. One of the things I did notice, and this is, I would say, really one of my only complaints about this particular camera, is the fact that there is no optical image stabilization. So there's no image stabilization in the body. Panasonic has made the decision to put it in the lenses. But of course, this little tiny lens has no optical image stabilization. So when I'm shooting with this, I have no assisted image stabilization, and sometimes I'm not the most solid shooter in terms of keeping things perfectly stable. So what I was noticing was that with one of these cameras, okay, you're looking at the screen here, you tend to shoot kind of like at arm's length, right? So you're shooting like this, or you're shooting like this. And compare that to a digital SLR, where you would tend to have a hand under the lens, a hand bracing the body. You get a lot more stability. So one of the things I've had to adapt to using this camera is not having that image stabilization means, unfortunately, some of my pictures just didn't turn out quite as sharp as I wanted them to. You can, you know, monkey with the shutter speed, and sometimes if, you know, I'm seeing fast action, I'll dial over to the shutter mode and I'll punch it up to maybe 1/100th of a second or something like that. Because I have the nice fast lens, I can do that without the ISO getting out of control. But basically, just what that means is that you kind of have to adapt your style a little bit. You have to be a little bit more purposeful about locking in your stability before you decide to take the picture. It's not a showstopper. Of course, it does not stop me from using this camera at all. I've taken probably, you know, 500-600 photos since I've gotten this, and I've only had it for a few months. I really, really like this camera. I really do, however, wish that Panasonic put image stabilization in the body, because image stabilization, in my opinion, it helps photographers take better pictures, because it helps you adapt to motion and slight, you know, unsteadiness. So that out of the way, you know, it's really, frankly, it's really my only real complaint. Of course, I would love to see Panasonic continue to improve this line. It would be great if the GF2 had even better, you know, high ISO performance, you know, so you could drive up the ISO. Again, it would be great to have image stabilization in the body, but overall, this is a fantastic and really fun camera. Again, I just cannot stress this enough. I'm so glad that I bought this camera. I would absolutely recommend that if this camera is within your budget, that this is the camera you should get. And I don't make recommendations this strong very often, but for me, this camera is absolutely fantastic, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. The video mode is good. The image quality it gets is good. I love being able to focus in the video mode. Overall, it's just a really great camera. So this has been Jason Dunn from Digital Home Thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this review video of the Panasonic GF1. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to our channel.